Hey, this is Mambo Sandy, and I have a little bit of a different uh, thing for you today. Topic. I know you always hear me say, "Don't mess with the spirit. Don't do this. Don't do that," and you're probably like, "Why?" Well, today I'm going to share a story with you. I've kind of touched on it in other videos, on one other video, but today I'm going to bring it full circle to you. Okay? And maybe there's some daughters of Chango out there, or people that have women that have Chango as their in their spiritual court. But those that he is really close to, hmm. Okay. So I tell you be careful of books. I tell you about how important it is to have a mother or a father or a guardian in this path. There is a reason. Long ago, long ago, um, Chango came to me in a dream. I didn't know who he was, but he came, and in this dream at that time, he took his axe and he placed it on my head in a dream. At the time in the dream, I was so scared. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what this is. I'm gonna die. But um, I later found out what it meant. Now, during that time, I can remember the date. It was actually in August. It was August 1st. I'm not gonna get into the year. Y'all don't need to know that. But anyway, it was August 1st. So I had this dream, and later on that week, I decide to go to the Botanica just to get something. Okay, I was just going to get something. I think I was going to get a candle, just a candle for me to do a little money ritual that someone that I knew that knew what they were doing shared with me. So while I'm in the store and I'm walking around, boom, I see the figure that came in my dream. I rush over there, I pick it up, I go to the counter, and there was this old Santero that used to be in there. Now, I say to him, "Who is this?" He's like, "That's Chango," in this voice he had. So I say to him, "Well, could you explain a little bit to me about him?" And he didn't go hand me a book. He took a little of his time, because it wasn't busy that day, to just explain to me a little bit about Chango. Oh my God, I was ecstatic. I was happy. I was, oh, well, this is it. And oh my God. And, he cleaned the statue for me. I remember he took a cigar and he cleaned it and he did some things. And I took Chango home. Oh, I had Chango sitting in my arms. I'm in the cab and I'm, going up into my apartment. Now, I spoke about Miss Gail in some of my videos. She was kind of like my god mom, but wasn't, because she was actually on her own spiritual journey, and it was things that she was dealing with, and she really just kind of was like, she would tell me things and she would watch over me to some degree, but it she didn't share some things with me, and now I understand why. So anyway, she says to me, "Darling, do you really want to bring him upstairs with you like that?" And I'm like, "Yes, Miss Gail, yes, it's Chango." She said, "I know who it is, but do you want to bring him in your house like that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "Okay." Because see, she was come to school. I've told you, but you still want to go forward. So sometimes you have to get a little bit of a spanking. So I bring him upstairs and I place him right on my I had a table in the dining room. I placed him right there, but something's like, no, I don't want to put him there. So I put him high up on this shelf that I had. And, I go back to Miss Gail and I ask her, well, Miss Gail, can you tell me some more about Chango? And she says to me, she always used to smoke these Salem cigarettes. Not Salem's, I think it was Moore's or one of those cigarettes she used to smoke. And she was like, well, she proceeded to tell me about Chango. He was lightning and, he's fire, all these different things she said about him. But she said to me, he can be very protective. Now, this time in my life, I was going through a lot, so I felt like, oh my God, he's here. I'm going to be fine. Yeah. Well, as some of you may know, I have mentioned this before. Um, I used to work, sometimes still do, as an exotic entertainer. Okay? So we all know the environment. Once again, I had no one to give me balance. Because like I said, Miss Gail felt like I needed to learn this lesson. Meanwhile, Oshun, at the time, she kept kind of like, hey, hey. But I was just focused Chango. Needless to say, I had so many problems with men in my life. It was ridiculous. I mean, men would come and they'd be like, I just can't deal with you. You just always think you're the boss and you think that and you think you know everything and you're challenging me. I'm like, what? What challenging you? Where are you getting challenged? What? How am I challenging you? Some things that you women get away with, like you might get a little smart with a guy and he just and just kind of no. I literally have fist fights with men. And I'm just not understanding why. Why is this happening to me? Why are men coming in my life and not treating me like how I saw other women being treated? Being taken out to dinner and spoiled and this and that. And finally, I got to the point, I was like, I'll do it myself. I don't need nobody to help me do anything. And then I found myself always wanting to wear red. This is some truth. Oh my God. If I could take you in a time machine with me. Okay? And it just was more, I just kept more and more and more Chango. This Chango. And I still love my Chango to this day. And yes, I practice Sanse. And yes, he is also in voodoo as well. Haitian voodoo. He is there. Ogu Chango. For those that are saying, but Mambo Sandy, that's Santeria. He's in Sanse too. And he traveled over into Haiti. Isn't that funny? Isn't he? Just jokes, right? So, as you see, he followed me. All right? Now, the moral of this is, if I would have listened to Miss Gail, I would have stepped back, reversed, asked her before I brought that energy into my life full fold. But I thought that I didn't think, not that I was being arrogant, I was just eager. I was eager to have this energy in my life because I felt like I could relate to it somehow. But I needed balance. I needed Oshun. Eventually, she, somehow, she started coming to my dreams. Okay? And I checked this out with Miss Gail, and she was like, yes, that is who this is. And she gave me some information and some things to do here and there. But like I said, she was having her own thing going on with her. And that I have to respect. And now I understand it even more so than I did now. Okay? So when you hear me tell you don't do this and don't do that, I'm telling you this because that lesson was a big, fat lesson. Every woman wants to have a man in her life somehow. At that point in my life, I was young, I was beautiful, and I really wanted to have fun. I wanted to have a man in my life. At that time, I really wanted that. But no, because Chango be like, I don't like them. Boop, gone. You know, basically, he just did not want them around. They will only last but so long in my life. And like I said, there were some things I couldn't get away with that most women could get away with men. It wasn't happening. I was accused of being too masculine. I was accused of challenging men. I remember doors slamming back in my face because the energy was overpowering. And just because people can't see it or understand what it is, it just manifested itself. You know, ladies, how you have your little groceries in your hand and a guy will come and ask you, hey, I can help you with that. Wasn't happening. So for a period of time, this is how lessons keep going. I grew bitter. You know, I became like, whatever. I don't need you anyway. It's because if I would have sat and I would have listened and I wouldn't have been too eager, I would have had the proper balance I needed of the feminine and the masculine. But I was overly eager. And not for power, just for my own thing. So when you have priests or priestesses or maybe that guardian that might come, they might be in your life for a very brief time, as Miss Gail was for me, okay? Appreciate that. They're not holding things back to hide them from you. They could be protecting you because you're not ready for that yet. That's how it is. Some of these spirits are just powerful spirits. Now, along the line, eventually things started to, get fixed for me. But it still was a powerful lesson. And you just don't go touching and getting involved in spirits that you don't know. Yes, he came to my dream. But from there, and I can't get mad at the Santero. Some people say, well, he should have told you. I was not his godchild. I wasn't his godchild. The fact that he even took the time, because back then there wasn't a lot of books out anyway, thank God. Who knows what kind of problems I could have got myself into. Because I was so curious and I understand that, but I also understand respect as well. I was not his godchild, but he at least explained to me who he was. It was on me to come back to him and maybe say, can I have a consultation? But I was too gung-ho, and with Miss Gail, I had many warnings. Miss Gail tried to stop me before I brought him up there. And started really giving him offerings. I remember he had apples all the time. He had apples in his meal of cornmeal and okra. Well, it is what it is. But those that are daughters of Chango out there, I'm quite sure you have maybe experienced this in some way. You know, being a woman and having Chango can be hard. It can be wonderful, but let's not just always put out the happy all the time. You know, it can be hard, especially if he really loves you and really cares about you. Okay? So that's my story about why I always say you just don't want to go rushing into, or not listening to elders, or not paying attention, or want to read a book, or not seeking the real advice that you need because you don't want to spend money. It wasn't about not spending money for me because I would have spent the money. It was just about the fact that I actually was very ignorant. I was ignorant to the fact of how powerful of a spirit he was, Orisha he was, and how much he could affect my life. When you tap into certain energies, they can affect your life. But you know what I'm glad about? I'm glad it was him and not some other spirit. I'm glad it wasn't a negative spirit. Okay? I'm glad it's not a Loa or an Orisha, another type of Orisha that could have been actually even, okay? And this is why, we have the saying that, you got to be careful in what you put your energy into. You have to be careful in the doors that you open, because some of those doors you may open could teach you a lesson that maybe you might recover from it and maybe you might not. I thank 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 the Orisha. I thank the Loa that they were a little lenient on me. Some people might say, well, you know, you that doesn't seem the case. No, they were. Compared to what could have happened to me, they were very lenient. So I hope this message reaches the right person, and I hope you understand why priests and priestesses, why we are not trying to hold information back from you. We are just trying to keep you safe. All right, I'm gonna have more about that later, but that was my story about Chango. I still love him to death. So talk to you later. Bye.